It's us, the Literary Ants. We're back again, and we have a map this time.
Wow, have a look!
Isn't that fantastic? So let's
Wait.
Oh. So, what is this map?
This is how Europe in 2018 looks like.
Yes, and you call it the continent of Europe. Well, let's call it by its technical name now, what it really is. This is the western part of the Eurasian continent. So I kind of like that. It's the one continent, everything connected from Ireland to
China, that's
China.
right.
Yes,
so
everything.
We are
yeah.
the western part, the eastern part.
With the western part.
Okay, fine. You see now that maybe I missed some geography lessons.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get back to what we're supposed to be talking about: the 30 Years' War.
Yeah, this is important. Now maybe you're asking yourself why we chose to talk about this.
So the 30 Years' War is a good starting point.
It is a good starting point. Well, first of all, because this year, as we told you last time, it's been 400 years since this dreadful war began in Prague in 1618, so it is very important. And then it is very important because you can understand better why Europe has become like this, because well, history is old. Hopefully it doesn't fall off. Well,
the map. Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you've got a map of Europe today, but Germany did not look anything like that.
No.
Did Germany exist?
Well, this is a good question, but this question was formulated for the first time exactly during the 30 Years' War, because someone started asking around, well, what is Germany? Where is it? What is the German nation? Because it was really, well, let's call it a big chaos.
Political medley of
Yes.
many different states, princely states, kingdoms.
And so we were thinking also that the 30 Years' War was a very important theme now to deal with, because people who are watching us, who are watching us from outside Europe, for example, and who are looking for a first approach to European history, philosophy, literature, art, whatever, well, through this they can have a better idea, and they can have, as I've said, a first approach.
Yeah, it's a starting point.
It's a starting point first.
Yeah.
And then we will be also very schematic. We will try not to be boring, of course, and being schematic in this case doesn't mean being superficial or banal, of course.
Yeah. We have to say a lot in a very short time. So what caused the 30 Years' War?
Well, it was at first a religious and local war. It started in Prague with the legendary, write it down, defenestration of Prague, okay? And it was true. I mean, some people were thrown out of a window. Defenestration comes from this word. They were thrown out of a window for political reasons, actually, because in Bohemia, people were mostly Protestant, and unfortunately, they got a Catholic king. And in the 17th century, kings, princes, lords, whatever, who had the power over a territory, they decided also over the religious beliefs of their subjects. But the people there didn't want to accept to become Catholics, so the war broke out.
And that was the beginning of something which would turn into a massive war, lasted 30 years, I mean that's a generation, and it involved nearly all the countries of Europe.
Yeah, and some scholars say nowadays that we can consider it as the first real world war.
The First World War.
Yeah,
gosh, yes.
Because all the countries throughout Europe were involved.
Including Turkey, even Turkey was involved.
Yeah, and if you consider that these countries were connected with their colonies,
of course.
that's okay. Maybe it's a bit too much, but it's true.
So Spain, for example, would involve Holland. and
Yes.
the Netherlands because they were part of their dominions.
Yes, and let's not forget, for example, that this war broke out as a religious war because in 1517 Martin Luther gave life to the Protestant Reform in 1517, and so there were some reactions, you know, political, economical, and cultural reactions to this. And so you have the Protestants and then the Catholics. They don't understand each other,
They're
and
intolerant of each other.
yes, of course. And then we had here in Italy the counter reform in the city of Trent in 1545 because the Catholic Church tried to make things better because they saw that many people followed this new belief, and that's the reason why even here in Europe, don't forget that religious wars broke out, and this is a very good example for it at first, at the beginning.
Yes, religion as a touch point, but then it got much more complicated. I mean, of course, there was some religious tolerance, but not that much.
Yes.
It diminished day by day until war broke out, particularly when you found yourself having to change your religion because your king was of a new religion.
Yeah, but a good point is still that it was one war.
Everything was connected.
Everything was connected, even if it was a war made up of several conflicts.
Which completely devastated Europe. I mean, the damage, the destruction. Would you like to tell us something about
Yeah,
that?
it destroyed the heart of Europe. Note this name, it destroyed, above all, Prussia.
Yes.
Prussia was, well, it would have later become a country, a kingdom, actually. It was right at the beginning back then. But Prussia will be a subject.
On its own. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll look at that by itself, and it will be a touch.
But don't remember
point.
this name,
Yes.
because it was the
Don't
the
remember
begin-
or don't forget.
Don't remember. Don't forget this name. Sorry. Yeah, I'm
Our English is
already
not
in
too
it. Yeah.
We've got linguistic problems here.
Yeah.
My German is the
It's
best.
too hot this morning,
35
you know.
degrees.
35
Oh,
degrees. We didn't want to record this morning, actually, but we have to.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Carry on, carry on, carry on.
So-
Okay, so let's get back to... Yes, so you've got the war on the one hand, which is destroying the land, but the people see this continuous war around them, but it's not just people involved. There's something supernatural going on as well. Is that happening? Is it true?
Yeah, because in the autumn of 1618, a comet appeared in the European skies, and so people interpreted, since the war had just begun, simple people, humble people, interpreted it as a sign, as a threat coming from God, as a sign of malevolence, because mankind was living in sins, they were behaving bad. It was seen as a punishment.
And there wasn't just a comet, there were other demonstrations of God's anger.
Yeah, the Little Ice Age, for example.
Oh, I wouldn't mind it today.
No, not now. So this was a curious phenomenon, actually, which followed a period of relative warming during the Middle Ages. Well, the Little Ice Age is still a matter of speculation now in the 21st century, because we don't know why it happened. We have no logical or scientific explanations. There is some people say that it is due to the lowering of solar radiation. This could be a reason, who knows? And then there's someone who said that it is connected with the eruption of some volcanoes in
But
South America.
Yeah, but they don't know which one it was. They
Yeah.
haven't specifically identified it. And people used to write letters to each other talking about these things and the fact there wasn't enough food, there was famine.
Yeah, because there were consequences, of course,
Yes.
coming from this little ice age. So bad crops, poor crops, and then famine, plagues of any
yeah.
kind, and then
Illness. I mean, it was just one thing after another, just devastation, illness, famine, food.
and then, for example, floods, and then well, the list is endless actually.
Floods as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if one thing, it's not enough. You just keep adding to the war plus everything else going on. Yeah.
And
awful time.
try to I don't know, to figure out that people back then didn't have the possibility to explain these things, these events, so they were looking for something else, for a supernatural explanation or for a scapegoat.
Because the main brunt of the anger and the incomprehension of the people was taken out on women. All women,
unfortunately, witch hunting was another phenomenon during the 30 Years' War. Thousands of women were tortured, put on trial, and then killed in the end, because they believed that they were witches, and they were the reasons why
they put evil spells on everything. And it wasn't just women witches, there were also some men who were killed for the same reasons. They were blamed for the disasters that were happening, which the disaster which continued for so many years, for a whole generation. Slightly more than a generation, 30 years. I mean, it's a hell of a long time.
Yeah. So just one last point that maybe we have just missed, that is, why was it considered just one war?
Oh yes, why was it considered one war rather than lots of little battles?
It was the eyewitnesses that said, well, this is one war. They perceived it as a one war.
That's interesting, very interesting, never-ending war.
We are trying to give you something like a guideline.
Yes, we're picking out certain points that are sort of pull it together in some way. We don't want to give you all the details, because basically we'd like you to do what we do, which is read about it. We hope that we'll stimulate your interest so that you'll go and look for explanations that we've begun to mention here, but we haven't treated exhaustively. And then also, who were the individual characters who came out during that time, who played very important roles, and we're going to deal with them, one of them in particular, or two, in the next video. So we'll see you then. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction.
Bye.
Bye.